Hi, this is Randy. Welcome to my channel. Hope you're having a good day. God's been good to me. I tell you, it's beautiful where we're at. It's 72 degrees out, sun's shining, sky's powder blue. It's beautiful. God made a beautiful day. If you would do me a favor in the right-hand corner, if you would hit that subscribe button, and if you would give me a thumbs up, it will really help the channel so that they'll push it out. Until I get to a certain level, which I'm a little confused. I think they said 1,000, but here lately I've heard it's 500. Anyway, when you get 500 subscribers, then they offer your videos to other people. When you turn the screen on, they offer it. Mine's not offered, so I need your help. So if you could do that, I'd appreciate it. It takes less than 15 seconds to subscribe, and if you only come once in a while or you don't come for a long time, it don't cost you anything, but it would really help me out. We're going to talk today about neglecting your family. Don't neglect your family. Some people do. We're going to read 1 Timothy 3, 4, and 5. All right? And let's go. He must manage his own family well and see that his children obey him with proper respect. If anyone does not know how to manage his own family, how can he take care of God's church? Christians need to realize that if you're a leader in the church, you ought to have things in order at home. And a prime example is this. I'm not knocking anybody. I'm just telling you like it is. If you're constantly having bill collectors chase you and you can't pay your bills and you don't know how to put a budget together and you're constantly spending money, you and your wife are just pulling your head up once in a while to take a breath from being buried, you got no business running the church's bills, being on the board, or being an elder, because you can't even run your own household. If your kids are running amok all over town, getting in and out of trouble all the time, now I'm not talking about if they're adults. Once they're adults and moved out, whatever they do, that's not you, all right? But when they're under your care and at home, 13, 15, 17, when they're living at home, they're your responsibility. You need to make sure that they do things that's proper and that's right, and don't neglect your family. Christian workers and volunteers sometimes make the mistake of being so involved in church activities that they forget and they neglect their own family, and especially the discipline of your children. It all falls on mom because you're never home, all right? There's nothing wrong with being involved in the church. If you're a person, I've had family members that cut all the grass at church and did all the grass work, weed eating, and all that, and they did it every week for the church because they loved it. All right, that was just a task that they did. It didn't take their whole life away, and they spent time with their children. But if you get so involved in church activities that your family goes without, they're not getting the proper training, they're not getting the proper help that they need to be good Christians and to be a good citizen. And it has to be taught from both parents, not just the mother. It should not fall on mom to teach everything to the children. Spiritual leaders, however, must be at home now and then to take care of their family. If a man is not willing to care and disciple his own family and teach his own children, how can he qualify to be a leader in the church? You have to offer wisdom and knowledge to your own family and teach your own family. Don't allow volunteerism, when you volunteer and it distracts you from the responsibility of your family. You cannot let it distract you from the responsibility of your family. You can do things at church and you can help out without neglecting your family. Now, there were times when I was a child, my father, up until I was about 7 or 8, my dad's church ran on the low end 250, and on the high end about 475. The reason I say this, I found that out over the years from talking to my mom, my dad. Also, I found photos from the church when I was little, church people all sitting together, taking a church picture and all this, and you see the board on the platform, record attendance 488 people. Last Sunday, 374 people. This Sunday, 404 people. So I know for a fact that they were running 250 to 475. Well, the record was what I just said, 480 something. So they had a lot of people. My dad had to make a lot of hospital calls. He had to meet people that were sick. He had to do counseling at the church. He preached on Sunday morning, Sunday night, and he preached or taught on Wednesday night. And then years later, my dad started having Tuesday, Thursday, because he was going to teach a Bible course called Through the Bible Book by Book, and it took 2 years to teach it. 2 hours each night, twice a week. We probably had 60 to 80 people that came to that class religiously to complete that course. And that was a real good thing. But my father always found time. In the summer, when we were off from school, he was on 2 radio stations in Illinois. We lived in St. Louis. He would take the radio tapes, tell us to get in the car with him. He'd drive over to Illinois and deliver the 2 tapes to 2 stations. My dad was born and raised in Illinois. I had 2 aunts and an uncle that was still alive that lived over in Illinois. Then we'd go to one of their homes, and we'd spend the day with them visiting with my aunt and uncle and all that. Then every year, Dad took us for a week somewhere. Of course, one time he took us to West Virginia, but he was going to preach a 2-week revival out there in a tent. And he only got to preach 1 week because I had asthma real bad when I was a kid. I kept having asthma attacks. A doctor came out to the house where we were staying, told my dad the air here's really poor, a lot of coal dust, this and that. We're between the mountains. You need to get your kid out of here right away. And he gave me a puffer and all that. So my dad always tried to make time to take us on a trip. And in the summer, every Monday, we knew we were going to go for a ride. And then my dad always found a little diner or place, he knew where they're at, that served good, wholesome, homemade food. And he'd take us to a kind of a cafeteria, mom and pop place to eat and always get a piece of pie. It was wonderful. My dad, even though he was busy, he took time out for us. Sometimes we felt neglected still, but my dad took time for us. Don't allow your volunteer work at church to take up all your time and not have any time for your wife and children. Sometimes it's hard to say no when you're asked to do so many things at church. But if your daughter and your son has school activities, the girl's a cheerleader, maybe she's a volleyball player, maybe she plays softball, maybe the boy is on a baseball team or a basketball team, or they're in the band like I was in school. My wife was in the senior band at her high school. I was in the senior band at my high school. My son was in the senior band at his high school. My grandson, same thing. My granddaughter. I mean, we got a bunch of people in our family that play the instrument. Now, I play the drums. All of them played the trumpet. All right. Debbie, my wife, her grandfather played in Benny Goodman's band for 11 years, played the trumpet. That'll tell you about the trumpet in their family. My nieces and nephews, my brother-in-law's kids, all played the trumpet. So I don't know who's going to get my drums when I go to Glory because nobody in the family plays them, but I'll have to give some thought to that. But sometimes it's hard to make time for church and for your family, but you have to do it. You have to make the effort. School activities must be important. My son was in speech and debate. He was a cheerleader. He was on the senior band and the jazz band. And I was in senior band, jazz band. I had to play several times for the orchestra. And it was really nerve-wracking to play for them because everything had to be perfect, and it was the cream of the crop. And the guy that was better than me, named Les, loved the guy. He taught me a lot. He was 2 years ahead of me. He said, look, you got to play for the orchestra these next 4 or 5 engagements because I'm involved in activities as a senior. And he also sang in the choir. He said, I'm going to sing in the choir for this, man. You got to play the drums. So he helped me out and showed me the ropes on what they needed for the orchestra, and I played for it. But you have to be involved in your children's activities and show that you care for your family and for your children, and you can't neglect them. If they got a softball game, if they got a baseball game, whatever it may be, take time out of your schedule for your children, all right? You have to have, if you make it a commitment to marry a woman and to have children, then that wife and children have to have some of your time, and you must give them some of your time. If you're a leader and your wife is not, and your children don't need to be left neglected. They need to know that they have their father in their life, and you need to take time out. I don't care how you slice the pie. The bottom line is, if you're a child of God and you're a leader in church, whether it be a Sunday school superintendent, a Sunday school teacher, whether it be an elder, or whether it be on the praise team, or whether you drive the church bus, whatever it may be, you need to allot time to not neglect your family and your obligations. When you told that woman you would marry her, you said, or if it's a woman, she's in the choir church or whatever, and she's involved in a lot of activities, all right? When you said I do, you meant you would take care of each other, and you need to make time for each other. And that's why a man should take his wife out to eat once a month, at least, by just him and her. Have a date night and go out to eat. Get someone to watch your kids if they're too young to take care of themselves, and take a time out. You need to have time for your family. Don't neglect your family. God don't like that. God should be first, your family second, your job third. But don't neglect your family. God bless you. I love you. If you get an opportunity, would you please help me out so I can get this pushed out to other people, and subscribe? It costs nothing. It just takes 10 or 15 seconds to do it. I've got 2 channels. If you would click on both of them, it would really be nice. I've got YouTube, and I also have Rumble. And then I have a Facebook page. So if you want to be a part and help me out, I'd appreciate it. I'm not asking for any money. I'm not going to ask you for a dime. All right? I just like people to see the content and know that I'm trying to help people to have a better life. Thank you for your time this time. Till next time, Old Rev May signing off. You have a wonderful day, and I love you all.